The FBI looking into a death on a cruise ship? That can't be good. And that's not all. Cruising is booming, and Norwegian has big plans for the future. Let's find out what's going on. Let's get to it. Welcome. I'm Sean Wendt. I'm your host here at the Went There Cruising channel. Lots to talk about cruise news today for Tuesday, July the 29th, 2025. Let's get to it. So the first big story today actually comes out of Carnival. The Carnival Dream last week while on a Western Caribbean sailing out of Galveston experienced a death on board. This is actually not an unusual thing that occurs on a cruise ship. I mean, the average cruise passenger tends to be more elderly. It's not at all unusual for somebody to pass away during their cruise voyage. But this was not exactly routine. So passengers reported on the night of the 23rd alarms going off between 3 and 4 in the morning advising of a medical emergency, and then only later to learn that a person had died on board. So Carnival has reported that this was routine, that it was not a suspicious death. However, it's also reported that the FBI has been advised and the FBI is coordinating. Now, interestingly, the FBI only investigates deaths on cruise ships if it is a murder or suspicious death. So Carnival says it's not a suspicious death. The FBI is investigating, which would lead us to believe that it is. Otherwise, the FBI does not investigate those. They investigate significant assaults, murders, suspicious death, rapes, sexual assaults, and thefts over $10,000 in value. So the mere fact that the FBI investigating tells us there's something out of the ordinary about this. Also, when the typical elderly person dies overnight on a cruise ship, I'm sure they're not ringing alarms at 3 in the morning. Now, what this could be somebody fell down a flight of stairs. It could be somebody maybe overdosed. It could be anything like that. I'm not in any way suggesting that foul play was involved, but it's probably not the case of an elderly person passing away in their cruise cabin. So I'm not quite sure why they haven't provided at least a few more details, right? If for no other reason other than to sort of calm people's fears, especially with all the other reported incidents that are the Where's Amy Bradley and a stabbing on the Icon of the Seas last week. A lot of high-profile incidents, and so you would think that they would want to be able to reassure people there's not a significant issue. There probably is not in this case, but there was no harm in saying this was an overdose or this was an accidental fall or something, whatever it may be. But just let people know, right? And it's just to calm the curiosity or calm the concerns. That would make sense. The next story today is cruising is absolutely booming, right? So multiple stories today reporting that Royal Caribbean is reporting its guests in the first half of this year are up 10%. Over last year, right? So a 10% increase 2025 over 2024. And that's just 3 weeks before they launch the Star of the Seas. So that'll increase capacity of a fully outfitted up to 7,600 more people sailing per week on the Star of the Seas. So that should increase it even more. Bookings are strong. We've seen all cruise stocks do well this year. So significant increase there. At Royal Caribbean. That's pretty good news. And then also today, Mexico is reporting an 8.6% increase in cruise guests coming to Mexico in the first half of this year as well. So, obviously Costa Maya and Cozumel on the eastern coast, and Puerto Vallarta and Cabo and Mazatlan on the west coast, and some other smaller ports as well. But cruising really does seem to be booming. There doesn't seem to be any sign of it slowing down. This is encouraging. And this is also in contrast to some other areas. You read multiple stories lately about how tourism is softening in Las Vegas and even Florida theme parks, maybe not getting the attendance that they have in the past. But yet cruising does seem to be booming and lots of new cruise ships coming. So this is all pretty exciting for the future. And the last story today comes out of Norwegian Cruise Line. They, like everybody else in the cruising industry, seems to be doubling down on the private island. So they've already had Great Stirrup Cay for a while, but they've announced for 2026 it's going to be an increase, an additional 6 acres out there. basically increasing the water park options there at Great Stirrup Cay, including 19 water slides, all starting in the summer of 2026. They say that they will have 1 million passengers visit Great Stirrup Cay. I think 15 of their 20 ships are going to call on Great Stirrup Cay at some time in 2026. So this definitely seems to be the trend in the industry, right? I mean, I think the big one to up the ante a couple of years ago was Royal Caribbean and their Perfect Day at Coco Cay, which is actually very, very close to Great Stirrup Cay, the island owned by Norwegian. In proximity, they're very close to one another. But that was clearly a very successful venture for Royal Caribbean. And then just last week, Carnival opened its Celebration Cay on Grand Bahama. Also last year, Disney opened Lookout Cay at Lighthouse Point, their second private destination. So more and more of these cruise lines are opening these private beach destinations. And now some different models of this, right? One of the critiques of Celebration Cay is that your drink package doesn't work, and you very limited free food options there, because the food options and bars there are not controlled by Carnival. It's outside entity provides that, and so more locals are employed there. So that's looked at as a win, right? And same thing with Lookout Cay at Lighthouse Point for Disney. You can't get the food and drinks there, but it is more locals involved in the production of the island. And so, people see that as a positive, right? So that it's not the cruise lines entirely that benefit from it. The local economy benefits as well. But I think I'm overall a fan of the private destination for these Caribbean destinations. I think that Caribbean cruising is a different experience than, let's say, Mediterranean cruising, where there you're really going for see more of the history in all these places, or maybe some more natural wonders like Alaska cruising. Whereas Caribbean cruising is generally about beaching and vacationing and relaxing and that kind of thing. So I think that there is certainly a market for this, and I'm encouraged to see it grow. But what are your thoughts? Why would you cruise? Are you looking to see nature? Are you looking to see historical places? Or do you just want a vacation? You just want to get away for a week? I'm curious what motivates you. Let us know in the comments. So, interesting things going on. Appreciate you watching the video. If you found it informative, please like the video. And if you like cruise content, please subscribe. Doesn't cost anything. Helps us out here at the channel. We'd really appreciate it. So thank you. And until we see you next time, we wish you smooth sailing. Take care.